Hi, I'm Rochelle Bilo, Finger Lakes Wine Country Wine and Food Ambassador, and I invite you to this year's Finger Lakes Restaurant Week, October 20th through October 26th, featuring local ingredients and some of the region's top restaurants. With all of the farms in the region, all of the people, growing amazing vegetables, raising meat the right way, we have a lot going for us here in the Finger Lakes. It's great raw ingredients, and great raw ingredients inspire amazing chefs. So when you have talented chefs and you have the tools for them to work with, it's only a recipe for success. In season now is, just about everything. You have still some tender salad greens like arugula and lettuce, but you also have heartier cooking greens like Swiss chard, collards, and kale. You have those ubiquitous squashes, pumpkin and butternut, acorn squash, all those things that just scream fall. You have potatoes and turnips and rutabagas and radishes, and we haven't even talked about the meat or the dairy or the eggs. So it's kind of like a playground for anyone who loves to cook, and if I know the chefs in the Finger Lakes, I know they love to cook. You're really in for a surprise. Do you ever talk with the farmers that you get ingredients from about cooking ideas, or like, hey, I have no idea what to do with this, what would you do with it?
Especially the Lucky Dog farmer.
Yeah.
He comes in and drops, local microgreens off every week, so I can talk with him about what the farmers have, a surplus of, and what I can get in that week, and try to support everybody, equally from all these local farms.
What do you have in store for us on this restaurant week?
Oh, I've definitely two different menus. One lunch, start with
two different menus.
Yes.
Overachiever.
Yeah. The lunch is sweet potato bisque.
Yeah.
Just want a plain, the sweet potato flavor. Pronounce
really
that.
let that veggie shine through.
And then pasta dish, a light one with a Riesling velouté, some linguine, some of the smoked andouille sausage, some cherry tomatoes, and whatever local cheese is what on my plate that week. So,
what kind of cheeses do you like?
I'm a big fan of goat cheese. That's one of my favorite,
and they make that really cheese well here.
Yeah. Usually I get it from Lively Run Goat Dairy, and they have very rich, creamy, kind of goat cheese. So that's a really good, for any cream dish you want to do, or even lasagnas and stuff like that. And the dinner menu. I have a duet plate with a little bistro filet and some, scallops.
So we know we can expect some great food from you, but perhaps just as importantly, will there be wine?
Yes, we definitely like to support our local wineries. So there'll be a wine or cider pairing. We have a hard cider that we might pair with one of the courses. And the dessert will actually have a maple jack liqueur from the Finger Lakes Distillery.
Talk to us about maple jack. What is that?
That's going to be the dessert for dinner. It'll be sautéed apples. I'm going to use some local apples and saute it down with the maple jack liqueur and inside a little puff pastry.
That sounds like breakfast, like a dangerous breakfast that I want to be a part of.
I want people that take the risk with this local, Finger Lakes Restaurant Week to have a good ending, and that's a great ending right there.
Finger Lakes Restaurant Week is a really interesting opportunity because, it's a fun time. You get to eat great food for a great price at, beautiful restaurants. But it's also an interesting time for education because we're learning as we're dining in these restaurants what's in season now. What are farmers in the area growing? What are chefs cooking with? It's a great way to stay current and to stay connected to your community. What is it like at Glenora now?
At Glenora now, over the years it's evolved. I worked with a gentleman that he used to like to use a lot of local produce. So the farmer used to come by and say, this is what we got, and actually we changed the menu
based on what they had.
So if he come in, and it was kind of chaotic because he roll in sometimes on a Saturday or Friday, and that's the busiest day of the weekend. And
I kind of love that about like farm cooking though. It's a little chaotic, but
It
you
is a
just
little
make
chaotic.
it work. You make it work.
I mean, we had our base with
Yeah.
everything, but the vegetables that he brought in, that's what we used on the plate. So, you know,
Yeah.
and we changed the menu according to what came in, and that's how we did it.
So what do you have in common with the farmers?
What I have in common?
Yeah.
we all love to eat.
That's perfect. That's great. I mean, what better way to tie yourself to each other that
Yeah.
you all ultimately care about nutritious, delicious, high quality food. Can you give us any previews for Restaurant Week? What do you have in store?
For Restaurant Week right now, one of the items that we're going to do is a pork shepherd's pie. So that's one of the items.
Sounds great. Because normally you use beef in shepherd's pie, right? So why pork?
Pork, because we can get locally from Autumn Harvest Farm, and we figured it'd be, you know, something different. And we're trying to give a little price point for people to come in and they would be able to enjoy, you know, our, you know, what we serve here. So we figured pork would be a good idea, and that's why we did it in the shepherd's pie.
So what else? Can you give us any other previews?
We're doing coq au vin.
Classic.
Classic. So we went back a little classic. So we're gonna do coq au vin blanc. So we're gonna use Riesling though when we do the coq au vin.
I love it because coq au vin is usually made with red wine, but since we have so much awesome Riesling here, it just kind of makes sense.
It makes beautiful sense.
And so obviously local wines from Glenora will be available for pairing with this menu too, right? And so what I love about that is not only do you get to eat local food, is you get to really experience like everything that the land has to offer by drinking the wine.
So when you get the flight, you'll be able to pair 3 different wines with each course that you get.
That's awesome. So you get a little different experience with every course, and you get to taste a lot more.
Definitely.
Awesome. What's the price point for that, for the whole menu?
For the whole menu is $30.
Get out of town.
No.
Seriously? That's awesome. Okay, I'm making a reservation. For more information, check out restaurantweekfingerlakes.com. There you can find out what restaurants are participating and even get a sneak peek at some of their menus, in case you needed to whet your appetite.